With GMF financing to qualify buyers, excludes Traverse and Corvette, excludes prior sales.
Why wait for Black Friday when the biggest Black Friday sale is going on now all month long at Bennett Chevrolet, where you can save up to 20% and more on your new vehicle? Because Bennett is selling new vehicles at $1,000 below, yes, $1,000 below the real GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you up to 20%. But of course, there's more with available 0% financing. Looking for used? Bennett's giving a minimum $10,000, a minimum 10 grand for your trade, no matter its condition, towards any pre-owned in stock. Imagine what you'll get for a good trade if Bennett's paying a minimum 10 grand for total junk. Bennett's deals are unbeatable during our Black Friday sales event, and there's never any hassles or sales pressure because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. The best Black Friday sales going on now at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
South Jersey's official play-by-play home of the Eagles, Sixers, and Flyers.
At 0 point would I ever consider not being a fan of the team.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. A Town Square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he's cool!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennig.
Hurt in the pistol with Barkley behind him. What a bet he gives it to Barkley? He gives it to Barkley, who cuts outside. He's at the 40, the 50, the 40. He's going to go again. He's going to go again. Touchdown, Saquon Barkley. His all-time record, 72 yards.
As heard here on 97.3 ESPN last night, Mel Race, Mike Quick on the call. Saquon Barkley, not one, but two big touchdowns, setting the Eagles' all-time rushing yards in a single game record. It is now 255. He also had over 300 total yards on the night. We'll get into all that and more coming up this hour on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. Of course, we will talk with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. Your guys can text in, get them in. You want to have a conversation with the Eagles. Their 7-game winning streak now, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle. Look, the Eagles are having an amazing run, and there continues to be a theme with this season. As I put out on social media last night, at Josh Hennig on Twitter X, at Joshua S. Hennig on Instagram, I put out there last night, and I will continue to hold to this position. Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate for sure. But unlike Adrian Peterson in 2012, where that Vikings team was literally a bunch of nobodies for the most part. I mean, there were a handful of really gifted players on that team, not named Adrian Peterson. But look, there's a huge difference between if your quarterback is Christian Ponder and if your quarterback is Jalen Hurts, right? There's a big difference between, the Vikings defense in 2012 and the Vikings defense this year. Sorry, the Eagles defense this year. This is a complete football team right now. And that final score does not reflect the actual game because that was a garbage time touchdown they got at the end. Cooper Kupp getting a touchdown was great for fantasy football owners. It wasn't a legitimate touchdown, okay? The Eagles pulled half their defensive starters for that stretch down the field. And the Rams were hoping for something to go there. On the one onside kick, because it was almost like Dallas Goedert was saying, you guys are ridiculous. Like, it was like the Eagles didn't care that they got a penalty in that situation. They were just like, we're going to win this game. You guys are idiots. We're still trying, And I felt that was a moment in the game where, for me, I realized this Eagles team is different than last year. There's been so many people who have brought up last year's collapse. And that moment by Dallas Goedert was one of many moments last night where you realized how different this year's team is from last year's team. It was also when Kenny Gainwell scored that touchdown. Who was the first person to greet him in the end zone? It was Saquon Barkley. Do you think for 1 minute that guys would have been celebrating like that last year? I don't think so. I think that is a huge part of why this year's team is different than last year. Because this year's team is a team that looks like they are playing as a team. They are playing as a unit. They are playing as a group. And it's a big reason why, look, you can have all the talent in the world. But when the talent comes together, the Eagles last year had a lot of talent. This year, they're doing special things. And I want to look forward to the conversation we will have in the coming weeks about this Eagles team. Because we are starting to get in that territory where the vibes are just different. And as I turn over my shoulder, I see Jason Kelsey on the set of Monday Night Countdown. And I got to believe, there's a part of Jason Kelsey look at this year's team, and he's just happy the guys are having a good year. Now, we did get some bad news last night. Brandon Graham, torn triceps. He is done for the year. Brandon broke that news to the media in the locker room last night. And I just got to wonder, without Brandon Graham, how does that impact this defense? Because to me, we went through half of this year wondering where the pass rush was going to come from. And you already are going to be without Bryce Huff, so a guy who's only got 2.5 sacks this year. After last night, Brandon Graham was arguably having one of the best years of his career, just in terms of overall impact on the game. I know he only has 3.5 sacks on the year, but when you break down what this Eagles team has done this year, when you break down the reality that this team has not been a great pass rush team. They only have 33 sacks on the year. Brandon Graham basically accounted for 4 of them. This is a team that has gotten production from other people. And I think the reason why they will survive without Brandon Graham defensively is because of a guy who last night did not get a sack. Last night, there was one man who had a massive impact on the game. And Chris Collinsworth tried to highlight it. But I think the problem is, and this is no shade I'm throwing at anyone in particular out there, I think there's a lot of people who just don't understand the nuance of football enough to appreciate what was happening last night. Jalen Carter was double teamed every single snap. And you look at all 3 quarterback hits that Milton Williams had. You look at Brandon Graham's sack last night. You look at the Kobe Dean sack, Josh Sweat getting his sack. All of those were facilitated by Jalen Carter basically absorbing so much attention. In fact, the one sack by Milton Williams, Jalen Carter drove 2 men at the quarterback, and Matthew Stafford walked right into Milton Williams. The reason it will be okay in my perspective is because Jalen Carter is accepting the role that has been given him, which is he is saying, I am going to be that disruptive force. I am going to be a force of nature. I am going to be the man that makes all believed he could be. Jalen Carter is talent-wise in the conversation with guys like Warren Sapp. And you go back and look at some of those Warren Sapp seasons, right? And you realize that guys like Sapp, guys who were just such physically gifted freaks, they weren't out there getting 10 sacks every single year. In fact, Warren Sapp didn't get a double-digit sack season until his third year in the NFL. Jalen Carter is ascending to that level where now you're looking around on his team like you did with Warren Sapp, and you saw other guys getting the benefit of his destructive force on the team. Do we really think that guys like Lonnie Martz and Hardy Nickerson were great pass rushers, or do we think they played next to Warren Sapp? I think guys like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat and others are doing an amazing job at taking advantage of playing next to the freak of nature that is Jalen Carter. And I think it's because of Jalen Carter why I have faith that even without Brandon Graham, they are going to be okay. And as for Saquon Barkley, look, if you don't think he's an MVP candidate, I don't know what to tell you. Because he is having such an incredible impact on this year. In fact, last year, Christian McCaffrey finished third in the MVP voting. On the year, Christian McCaffrey had 1,459 rushing yards. This year, Saquon Barkley has 1,392. That means Saquon Barkley, through 11 games, has about 60 less rushing yards than Christian McCaffrey had last year in 16 games. If Saquon only plays 16 games, he is on pace for almost 2,400 total yards. If that's not an MVP, I don't know what it is. Now, look, if you want to be the person who says running backs don't win the award, okay, I can see that. I think that the biggest difference between last year and this year, again, is the attitude of the players, the vibe on the field, and that man Saquon Barkley. Because for whatever reason, the Eagles had to purge that locker room of some bad people. They had to purge the coaching staff of some not helpful people, I'll put it that way. And now you're looking at a team that is enjoying playing with each other. They're happy to be out there. They are dominating on the line of scrimmage, and they got an MVP candidate toting the ball. And let's be realistic. If Saquon Barkley keeps playing the way he is, well, you have a stretch of games coming up where you can keep padding that resume. And when you play teams like the Carolina Panthers and like the Dallas Cowboys and a Washington team that really didn't have a lot of success stopping you in the second half of that Thursday night game, and we saw Washington have a disheartening loss yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, Saquon and the Eagles could be in position to have an impressive and exciting month of December. And thank the Lord that the Eagles are good, because the Sixers are an abomination to watch, and the fact that that team keeps putting out that product is an insult to the intelligence of every Philadelphia sports fan. So thank God we got the Philadelphia Eagles. Josh Hennig here, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Coming up next, Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press will join us, and then a little bit later this hour, your text at 609-403-0973.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a big AFC matchup coming up this week from Los Angeles, and it's a battle of the brothers. The 7-4 Baltimore Ravens, coached by John Harbaugh, traveling west to take on the 7-3 Chargers, coached by Jim Harbaugh on Monday Night Football.
Listen to Monday Night Football on 97.3 ESPN. Brought to you by Ace Hardware Home Services, Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Visit acehardwarehomeservices.com to book today.
Your luxury BMW experience is closer than you think. Take advantage of exceptional savings at BMW of Atlantic City. Stop in and shop your favorite models, including the new BMW 2 Series, X3, and more. We're sure to have a vehicle that fits your needs. And with Acceleride, purchase your vehicle online and we'll deliver it directly to you. Looking to trade? We'll pay top dollar for your current vehicle. Experience luxury today at BMW of Atlantic City, closer than you think. In Egg Harbor Township, shop our complete inventory online at bmwatlanticcity.com.
At the Home Depot, the holidays have arrived.
And so is all my family. So I'm working on keeping up with the laundry.
The Home Depot is here to help with Black Friday savings up to 40% off select appliances. Spend less time doing laundry with smart, efficient appliances from Samsung, ranked #1 in customer satisfaction.
Perfect. Less laundry time means more family time.
Get Black Friday savings now with free delivery and financing on select appliances at the Home Depot. Visit jdpower.com/awards for more details. Offer valid November 6th through December 4th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
For 75 years, Jenkins Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has been the name you trust, where one call does it all. Jenkins expert technicians have been delivering top-notch service to local homeowners. Renovating your kitchen or bath? Call Jenkins. Need a new heating or air conditioning system, service or maintenance, or even ductless air conditioning? Jenkins has you covered. They also specialize in water heaters, boilers, oil service, plumbing and drain cleaning, water line, and sewer main repairs or replacements. Call 609-641-6262 or visit jenkinsandsons.com today.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NHL the Flyers home tonight, taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Philadelphia is coming off a 3-2 overtime victory against the Chicago Blackhawks that snapped a 2-game losing skid. And Wednesday, they'll travel to Nashville where they'll take on the Predators. NFL Sunday night, the Eagles beating the Rams out in Los Angeles 37-20. They win their 7th straight game and improving to 9-2. Saquon Barkley, a franchise rushing record of 255 yards. He had touchdown runs of 70 and 72 yards. Jalen Hurts, 179 yards passing. He had a touchdown to A.J. Brown in the win. NBA, the Sixers returning Wednesday, hosting Houston. This wraps up a 3-game homestand. Sunday, they fell to the L.A. Clippers 125-99. They dropped to 3-13. Jared McCain led Philadelphia with 18 points, but the Sixers have now lost 6 of their last 7.
I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
From the Towns for New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. It's a very busy travel week around New Jersey with Thanksgiving just 3 days away. Unfortunately, the weather will get in the way at times. Maybe an isolated rain shower tonight as clouds build in, low 48. Quick round of rain tomorrow morning. Everybody gets wet. Clearing skies and breezy tomorrow afternoon, high 59. Sun to clouds, 51 on Wednesday. More rain coming up for Thanksgiving Day. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
I'm Dr. Caitlin Baston, New Jersey's health commissioner. As a physician and a mother, I know the importance of vaccines. They protect us all from serious illness. With your kids in school, help them stay healthy and ready to learn. Get them vaccinated against COVID, flu, and other preventable diseases. Set a date today. Learn more at nj.gov/health/vaccines.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Everyone's going to be telling us how good we are. Everyone's going to be telling us, this is you're one of the better teams. We don't listen to that. All we got to do is put our heads down and work. Just like when people tell you aren't good enough and you got to block it out, put your head down and work. It's the same situation here because I think what's going to happen, obviously, everyone's going to be calling you. The media is going to be telling you how good you are. The fans going to be telling you how good you are. That all doesn't matter. All that matters is that we go back to work.
Nick Sirianni last night talking about how they're going to stay focused. 7-game winning streak. The Eagles right now are heading into the holiday season looking better than they did last year when they were 10-1. So are we ready to buy into them as one of the best teams in the NFL? Rob Maaddi covers the NFL for the Associated Press. He is back here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, welcome in. How you doing today?
What's going on, Josh? Happy Victory Monday.
Victory Monday indeed. And, it's interesting because you and I talked a lot about the possibility of Saquon Barkley being an MVP candidate. Well, it's almost like Saquon was listening, Rob, because, through 11 games right now, Saquon has 60 less rushing yards than Christian McCaffrey had last year in 16 games. So Saquon is already getting to a point where you said, Rob, on Friday's show, and we played the audio a little bit earlier on 97.3, you said that you were interested to see how Saquon's year would progress because if Christian McCaffrey finished third last year, you were wondering how would that impact things. Well, I got to imagine for you, Rob, it's starting to cause a little bit of a stir among the voters.
Yeah, I think Saquon Barkley, certainly it doesn't hurt his cause to have a breakout, incredible top 10 NFL history performance on Sunday Night Football with the entire world watching. Mike Tirico, who actually is one of our AP voters, I thought was very interesting when Chris Collingsworth presented him with everyone's talking about this, and Mike, and to his credit, because he gets a letter warning voters don't discuss who you're going to be voting for, but he said that, hey, there's still a long ways to go, and I don't want to get involved in that conversation. While I understand that, and yes, there is a long way to go right now, and I hate all the Josh that if the season were to end today conversations. But if the season were to end today, Saquon's certainly right there in that conversation. He's right there in that mix. I think it's hard for anyone to beat out quarterbacks when you look at what is the term most valuable mean, most valuable player. If you take a running back out of the starting lineup or a wide receiver out of the starting lineup, can a team recover? Can they still find ways to win? Could the Eagles be 9-2 without Saquon Barkley? Probably not. But could the Buffalo Bills be 9-2 without Josh Allen? Most definitely no. And you could fill in the blank there, right? You can say, would the Chiefs be 10-1 without Patrick Mahomes? And he hasn't had that great of a statistical season. But would the Detroit Lions be 10-1 without Jared Goff? We can answer those questions. So that's why it's difficult historically for anyone besides a non-quarterback to win. I think I put the stats out last night. It was 11 in a row that are quarterbacks, 9 of the 11 from a number 1 seed, the other 2 from a number 2 seed. However, when Adrian Peterson won the award, the last non-quarterback, and he was a running back, and he won the award following the 2012 season, the Minnesota Vikings made the playoffs, Josh, but they were a 6 seed. So it's happened. It has happened. And I will also, I love when these conversations are presented. I will say this. If a kicker can win the NFL MVP award, and it happened, I don't know how Mark Mosley, and it wasn't even the greatest year. Like, if you go back and look up the stats for Mark Mosley in that strike short in 1982 season, I want to know what the heck voters were thinking back then. To vote a kicker, like, that was the Washington Redskins. Joe Theismann was the quarterback, and Mark Mosley was the NFL MVP that year. It wasn't like he was banging down 55-yarders and 60-yarders and was 100%, but he was an MVP. To me, that means anyone, any given year can win the award. Saquon Barkley's credentials are just getting better by the week. His resume, he's put it out there, and it's been tremendous. And I'm going to be interested to see how it plays out because there's still a handful of games left. The Eagles are not the number 1 seed. Can they finish there? Yes. Can Saquon make a case for 1, 2, 3? Yes. 4, 5? Yes. It's a tough one. It's going to be a tough year to vote.
By the way, I pulled it up. Mark Mosley, he got 41% of the votes. Dan Fouts got 39% that year.
He just edged out Dan Fouts that year. Wow.
2 votes. 2 vote difference. So whoever was the turd who voted for Danny White that year probably would have helped Dan Fouts win the award. I'm looking at it right here. It's 35-33, 6 for Marcus Allen. I mean, Marcus Allen, we get that. Joe Theismann had 3. Some reason Danny White got 2 votes that year.
What you have Mark Mosley's stats in front of you? Just click on Mark Mosley because
I can open that tab.
It wasn't like he had a tremendous season. Like, I don't understand how Joe Theismann or Dan Fouts or heck, I would take Danny White.
He was 20 for 21. His longest field goal was 48 yards, which is not even his career high.
20 of 21. Wow.
His longest that year was 48. His career high was 54 in 1977.
So he didn't even make a 50. How many extra points? How many extra points? He might have been perfect from there.
No, he actually was worse at that. He was 16 of 19.
Extra points? 16 of 19?
16 of 19.
Oh my goodness. I'm more blown away by the year. Every year I think about Mark Mosley as the AP NFL MVP, and I don't think any award in any season in any sport is more mind-blowing than Mark Mosley that year.
Yeah, I got to highlight it on the screen there. I mean, the dude literally missed 3 extra points that year, and he was the league MVP.
He only accepted 19. And for those listening who are younger, that was when the extra point wasn't even as far, like the extra point.
It was closer.
Yeah, what was it, 20 yards?
It was 20 yards.
Right? It was from the 10.
He missed 3 from 20 yards.
He missed 3 extra points.
Rob, if a guy misses 3 from 20 yards, say he gets cut.
Then the following day, there's 12 kickers auditioning for his job on Tuesday.
My goodness.
The following year, he was 31 of 33 from extra point. There was a year in 1980? Was it 1983? What year was that? Where he was sick?
He didn't play.
It was 62 of 63.
He didn't even play in 83.
What year was it that he was 62 of 63?
Let me zoom in for my. Are you talking about that was the year after. That was 83. So the year after.
Yeah.
See, I missorted this. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bad job by me. So there it is. 62 of 63 the next year. He was better the next year.
Yeah, the next year, 62 of 63, although field goals, he was horrific, 33 of 47. The following year, he was 70%. He followed that up. Like and I know kickers back then weren't what they are now. Obviously, they weren't knocking down 55-yarders like they're going out of style and all of that. Like, remember, he might have been before your time. Tony Franklin. The Eagles had two barefooted kickers. Tony Franklin.
He was the barefooted kicker.
Yeah, and then Paul McFadden was a barefooted kicker. That blows my mind too. Like, I don't understand how you can kick it barefoot and be that accurate. But Tony Toes is what they call Tony Franklin. Like, that's going back to my earliest memories. So, given all of that, Josh, yeah, 100%. Saquon's in the conversation. What a phenomenal night he had. 270-plus yard touchdown runs. He's on a whole other level right now. And I wasn't sure if he was going to be a first-team All-Pro because Derrick Henry's right there neck and neck with him. But I think he certainly took a lead in that category last night. And next week it's going to be great. It's going to be Eagles-Baltimore. And fortunately for Philly, the Ravens will be coming off a short week cross-country flight back home from LA.
Yeah, I want to know how this voting works as well because Dan Fouts got 43 votes for Offensive Player of the Year. So who were the 10 people who didn't vote for him for MVP but voted for him for Player of the Year?
And this was back before the voting changed to the current format when you only picked one. You picked one for MVP. You picked one for Offensive Player of the Year. So, yeah, Offensive Player of the Year that year, Dan Fouts had how many votes? He had 40. Oh, wow. We had more than 50 voters back then.
Yeah, just think about that. But, Rob, he had 33 for MVP, 43 for Offensive Player. So who are the 10 people who are like, you can be Offensive Player of the Year, Dan Fouts, but you can't be MVP? Like, I want to know who those 10 people were.
And look at those numbers, too, though. 17 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Like, Carson Wentz was crucified for numbers like that. Danny White, 16 and 12. Man, it's a different era, man. Kellen Winslow, Wes Chandler. How about that? And then Marcus Allen. That was the year the Redskins beat the Raiders, right, in the Super Bowl, I believe.
Yeah. Riggs.
That was the Gerald Riggs year?
I think that was it John Riggins, was it?
Oh, John Riggins.
He reversed back.
Yeah. And then they went on and won one later, a few years later, when it was Doug Williams. Timmy Smith might have been the running back against the Broncos. He had like
Timmy
career game in the Super Bowl and never did anything again. But that was the Joe Gibbs Redskins. I think we're allowed to say Redskins now because like Senate and the NFL and there's conversations in the logo. I think you're going to be allowed to use the term again, and the logo might be in play, but not the team. The team's not going to change names.
Whatever.
I can't keep track. I'm not sure.
Whatever. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us here on 97.3 ESPN, going down the rabbit hole of MVP history, the abominable votes that have been in the past. But back to the present, Rob. I thought one of the other big deals last night, obviously a lot of people were talking about Brandon Graham, done for the year, torn tricep, sad to see it. But I think the reason why the Eagles are going to be okay, Rob, is because of someone who did not get a sack last night. Jalen Carter accepted the role last night of being the guy who didn't get the stats. He took on double teams every single time. You go back and watch that game. 2 Milton Williams sacks, the Brandon Graham sack, the Josh Sweat sack. All of these sacks were because there were 2 guys on Jalen Carter. In fact, one of the Milton Williams sacks, Jalen Carter drove 2 men into Stafford. Stafford had to step left, and who was there waiting for him? Milton Williams. So to me, I think the Eagles defense will be okay without Brandon Graham is because Jalen Carter is finally ascending into the role that people expected of him.
Yeah, and he's had such an impressive run lately, Josh, that as we're talking about awards here, I've heard some people put his name in a conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. Like, that's how much of an impact Jalen Carter has made in recent games. And maybe we start counting down the how many games on IR does Bryce Huff have left, because the Eagles are going to need him to step up and help replace Brandon Graham. But that's teamwork. That's where it starts. Somebody's got to eat up double teams, and then when it's that collective monster inside, that 650 pounds of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis together, and they're going off, and they're hard to stop. And I thought going into that game, it was going to be tough for the interior of the Rams line to block the Eagles defensive line, and it played out that way. And the Eagles had a lot of success. I think they gave up a few more yards than they have been, but they were able to keep the Rams off the scoreboard. And
still 290, still only 290.
Another game under 300. There's a streak there, and I'm losing track. I think it dates back to Jim Johnson era, how many games in a row that they've been under 300. But it's impressive. What they've been able to do is impressive. And Collinsworth really hammered home the point, and it's right and it's accurate. They wear teams down, and that's what they do. And they're built to win, and they're built to win in January, and they're built to win important playoff games by the style of play, offensively and defensively. And again, like I probably never quoted Collinsworth so much in my life because I tuned him out, but he called them bullies, and he's right. That's what they are. That's what they have been. And I think that's, we talked about this last week, and I said the Eagles are set up nicely going forward, and they continue to be. They just have to figure out, like, it helps that the perks in the schedule and the way that it plays out, and the Ravens it's not going to be both teams equally rested. Yes, the Eagles are coming back from LA, but they got back a day sooner, so that kind of helps as they go there, and we'll see how it plays out with the Lions. But again, I think the Eagles can beat Detroit on the road, so they may not need to have that number one seed. So I will continue to sit on my preseason pick of the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, and they're certainly making me feel a little bit better about it now than they did, say, 7 weeks ago when they were coming off a blowout loss to the Buccaneers.
Eagles have held their last 7 opponents, including the Rams, under 300 yards, the longest streak since 2008.
Wow. Which was Jim Johnson's, I think, his last year, 2008.
I think it was his last year, yeah.
I think that was his last year, and that was the year that the Eagles had to win X amount of games at the end. They got into the playoffs and then advanced all the way to the NFC Championship in Arizona and were a road favorite and lost that game, came off the field. The defense let them down. Donovan walked off the field with a lead, and he'll let you know that if you ask him.
Couple more for AP senior NFL writer Rob Maaddi here on 97.3 ESPN, at Rob Maaddi on the Twitter X platform. Rob, are the Kansas City Chiefs fugazi?
I was just having this conversation with my daughters, of all people, because they love talking football with Daddy, and we were talking about the Chiefs winning and barely beating Carolina because they were looking at the Bucs schedule and they want to see how they can come back. And I'm like, Carolina's not as easy as we thought they were, because they just gave the Chiefs a run yesterday. What is that now? 5 games that the Chiefs have won, final play, final seconds, whatever it is. They're barely hanging on. And we're starting to see some leaks defensively that Steve Spagnuolo's got to figure out. They've got some issues in the secondary. If Bryce Young can have his best game against you, I think, and I didn't think Bryce Young is completely finished. I wanted to see what Dave Canales can do with Bryce Young over an extended period of time. And I think they're getting better and better. That said, there's some issues there defensively for the Chiefs. Now, offensively, they still have Mahomes. Anytime it's crunch time, you saw what he did yesterday. We see what he does week in and week out. And he's kind of started to limit those turnovers, and he's having those 3 touchdown, 0 interception games like we figured he would eventually be Patrick Mahomes. I'm not going to call them phony. I'm not going to call – they're a 2-time defending Super Bowl champion. They're 10-1. They're winning games. I will kind of make a comparison, Josh, between the 10-1 Chiefs and the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles from last year. Barely hanging on. Things weren't going great, even though they were 10-1. They ultimately lose 6 of 7. I don't think that's going to happen to the Chiefs, but I think the Chiefs are closer to the 2023 Eagles than they are the 2022 version of themselves.
You are not the first person I've heard make that analogy between last year's
Mm.
Eagles and this year's Chiefs. I think that sentiment is starting to spread around a lot of
Ooh.
circles. So, Rob, who's winning the NFC West? I have no idea. I really don't.
Yeah, I was having this conversation too with someone else because they're like, "Oh, well, we don't have to worry about the Niners." I'm like, only a game out. They still got to play each other. Now I know San Fran's going to Buffalo, but worst case scenario, they're what, 2 games out if the other two, if Arizona and Seattle win, and I can't imagine San Fran's going to go to Buffalo coming off a bye and win that game. So I think they're going to have to bounce back from 5-7, but they've made a run before. They can go 5-7 and win out and finish 10-7. Maybe 9-8 is probably good enough to win that division. If I had to pick one team from the 4, I'm going to go with a team that I know has the talent, has the proven experience, and has been able to do it. They certainly don't look like the 49ers of old. They've got issues. They're dealing with a lot of different things. They need Brock Purdy healthy. They need Trent Williams healthy. They need Nick Bosa healthy. If all 3 of those guys aren't out there, each one individually is a huge loss, and Brock more so than the others. I don't know if they're going to want Daniel Jones as a backup, given that Brandon Allen wasn't terrible yesterday against Green Bay. There were some plays and some throws, but it was a guy who hadn't started in 2 or 3 years. So we'll see where Daniel Jones ends up. More likely, maybe Minnesota, maybe Baltimore. I wonder if the Raiders want to give him a shot, as he cleared waivers today. So that all of that's going to play out in the next day or so. But I do think that the Niners, if I had to pick one team, I'm going San Francisco out of the NFC West.
The big game is going to be December 12th. 49ers, Rams. To me, the winner of that game is going to win the division.
Where's that game? Where is that going to be?
San Fran.
San Fran? Okay. December 12th. Yeah. Seattle's hard to trust. Arizona's hard to trust. They're up and down. All of those teams are beatable each and every week.
By the way, the 49ers finished the year with Detroit in San Francisco, followed by at Arizona. So, yeah, it's an interesting schedule, but 49ers do control their own destiny. By the way, the only reason why I know Brandon Allen started a game 3 years ago, Rob, is because your boy Brady said it about 20 times on the broadcast. I mean, dude, it was like a drinking game. It was like, how many times can Tom Brady say, because I felt like every chance he got, he was saying, well, you know how hard it is to start a game for 3 years? Well, if you haven't started a game for 3 years, it's pretty hard on a guy and his speed and his timing. And I felt like it was like Brady was having like a competition with somebody. Like he was like texting a buddy, like, watch how many times I can squeeze this stat into here.
Him enjoying, huh? Or him and Gronk somewhere. Who did he start that game for? Was it the Jags? I forgot.
It was the Jags, yes.
Cleveland?
It was the Jags. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's the Niners got some. Yeah, they got some issues, man. They got some issues, that's for sure. Green Bay, I'm looking at, and how about Washington? I think there's a shot they don't even make the playoffs. As for a team that was 7-2 competing for the NFC East, there's a possibility that this downward swoon for the Commanders continues, and they can miss out on the playoffs entirely as a wild card. If it comes down to, just suppose it comes down to, and right now the Bucs are 5-6, Washington's 7-5, so it's only one game in a loss column, and Tampa Bay beat them week 1 of the season, so they got the head-to-head. That's one team that can get that advantage over them. So that one's very interesting to me. Cliff Kingsbury and his offense, and how they, for a few years now, we've seen this happen in Arizona. Second half of the season, teams figure him out, and his offense kind of takes a swoon.
By the way, I was wrong. It was actually Cincinnati. You were right. I looked it up.
No, we were both wrong. I said Browns. So there we go. I got the right state.
You got the right.
We're in Ohio.
He played the Browns.
Okay, there we go. He's a journeyman. It's a journeyman quarterback. He played everywhere.
He was on the Jags. He was the Jags' backup quarterback at one point, apparently. So that's why I thought of the Jags. You thought of Cleveland because his last start was against Cleveland. So it's like our brains are halfway there, but not fully.
There we go. Hey, it's Monday and a Thanksgiving week, so we got some turkey to look forward to.
Absolutely. Rob, always appreciate you jumping on. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I'm always thankful for when you join me on the show because I feel like we have some great conversations, and keep up the great work with the AP and Faith on the Field.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it, man. Keep up the great work, and happy Thanksgiving to you and all the listeners.
Josh Hennig here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City. Get your text on the other side, 609-403-0973. How are you guys feeling about the Eagles right now? Saquon Barkley, MVP candidate. And, of course, Monday Night Football tonight, the Harbaugh Bowl. If you haven't heard it from about 20 different promos on ESPN, well, now you know. John Harbaugh playing tonight. And John is 2-0 against Jim all time. Is that the way you should lean? I'll tell you next. 97.3 ESPN.
This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2024 season this Sunday in Baltimore against the Ravens.
Here comes the rush. They've got him again!
Yeah, this offensive line cannot block the Eagles.
Pre-game coverage starts at 3 p.m. with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 4:25. This is the play-by-play home of the Philadelphia Eagles. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Are you ready for a breakfast game changer? Discover hot bagels and more with locations in Margate, Northfield, Summers Point, and Atlantic City. They serve hot, fresh bagels crafted daily in a variety of flavors that will keep you coming back for more. Don't miss their homemade tuna and chicken salads along with delicious soups. Plus, check out their lunch specials and party platters. Perfect for gatherings and holiday meetings. Swing by Hot Bagels and More and experience the bagel game changer today. Visit hotbagelsandmore.com or stop in today.
It's the week of Thanksgiving, so you're a little busy. Here's something you can check off your list. Holiday shopping at Macy's. Because Black Friday is happening right now. You don't have to wait until Friday to get the season's best savings on the best gifts. You don't even have to wait until the end of this message. Head over to Macy's now and save big. If you go to Macy's.com, you can get your gifts shipped for free when you spend $25 or more. That's one less thing on your to-do list. Exclusions apply. See Macy's.com for details.
This holiday season, Straight Talk Wireless is letting you say yes a lot more with real unlimited data. Yes to sharing pics of the ugliest holiday sweaters. Yes to checking weather on the go for surprise sledding trips. And with a free phone at sign up, let the yes-tivities begin.
No way!
Yes way. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart or straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 1/5/25 while supplies last at participating stores. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store activation on select single-line plans. Limit of 2 phones per customer. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. When you want experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dansville Fence.
Hey South Jersey homeowners, autumn is here and fall season means fence season. Are you dreaming of a new fence or railing but you don't want to break the bank? Our pro tip of the day, install in the fall for big savings. As your exclusive Active Yards dealer, you can choose from our inventory of privacy, decorative, security, and pull fence solutions by Active Yards. No matter what your needs are, we have a high-quality, maintenance-free Active Yard solution that is right for you. Don't miss our Install in the Fall savings coupled with our no-money-down, interest-free financing so together we can make your dream a reality. So give us a call today or go online to DennisvilleFence.com to request a free estimate and be sure to mention that you want to install in the fall.
Go with experience, go for the best. Pick up the phone and call Dansville Fence. 1-800-499-FENCE.
Visit DennisvilleFence.com.
Are you annoyingly inattentive? Do you watch a movie and then ask a zillion questions because you weren't paying attention? Do people ask, how do you sleep at night? Then you should get a mattress from Mattress Firm. They can help anyone sleep. At Mattress Firm's Black Friday sale, get a king for the price of a queen and a free adjustable base with select Sealy beds, all with a low price guarantee. Get matched at Mattress Firm. Sleep at night. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
Chris Coleman here. It's the Black Friday sales event at Kindle, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, with up to $4,000 total cash allowance towards select 2024 Chrysler Pacifica gas models. Need a truck for work or play? Get $4,000 retail consumer cash allowance on most 2025 Ram 1500 models. Financing through Stellantis Financial ends 12/2/24. See Kindle for details. Check out their huge 100-acre lot just off exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard and check out KindleDodge.net.
The holidays are picking up at the Home Depot, and so are the savings. Don't miss store-wide doorbuster deals starting Friday at 6 a.m. in-store only. Get top-of-your-list quality gifts at our lowest prices of the year, like a Ryobi 1+2 toolkit, only $79.88. Or go all out with festive decor, like the 2.5-foot LED elf Minion Stewart, a team player in any holiday display, for only $39.98. Don't miss doorbuster deals coming soon to the Home Depot. Starts November 29th, while supplies last.
I juggle a lot. And managing constipation with belly pain from my irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, with laxatives and fiber isn't enough. My doctor recommended a way to get ahead of it. Then I said yes to Linzess.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
JCPenney's best Black Friday ever. Shop thousands of deals all week long, like $14.99 small appliances from Cooks or Black & Decker. Get boots and more boots for women, just $19.99. And cozy up to the women's St. John's Bay cable, the sweater lived in and loved by millions, now $9.99. There's even a matching sweater for your dog. More holiday, bigger savings. JCPenney, make it count. Offers valid on select styles through 11/30. Deals excluded from coupons. See store or jcp.com for details.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screams. Go to the Gallery. Go to the Fanatic Sportsbook. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, check on the text board one more time before we get you guys out of here. Don't forget the Monday Night Football tonight at 7:30 here on 97.3 ESPN. If you want to hear the Flyers, tune into our sister station, Rock 104.1, and the Rock 104.1 mobile app for the Flyers game. Of course, we usually have the Flyers show on 97.3 ESPN, but thanks to our sister station, Rock 104.1, they will have that for you. Andrew chimed in on the text board. He didn't say where he's from, and I appreciate where he's coming from. He says, what do you say to someone who's still hesitant about this Eagles team? We were commanding last year at 10-1 before the slide. It's Andrew in Summers Point. Okay, he says, I'm not there yet. He says, I appreciate you attempting to answer the question, though, Andrew in Summers Point. I would just go back to this. The players have said multiple times that the coaching coordinators were a problem last year. And I feel like a lot of people don't want to accept that because I think either people look at the head coach, say it should have been him to fix the problem. But people forget, we have had Sal Palantonio with Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. Diana Racine reported the same thing for the Athletic. Nick Sirianni doesn't hire his coordinators. He might have input on them, but it's Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie who hire the coordinators. So that's why I never blame Sirianni as much for the coordinator mess as other people did. And I think, again, there was no Saquon Barkley last year. There was no joy and happiness on the sideline like there is this year. All right, Monday Night Football tonight. I got a couple props I like tonight. No Roquan Smith tonight, the all-pro middle linebacker for the Ravens. So give me over 46.5 rushing yards for J.K. Dobbins. Also, on the flip side, Eli Apple was just added to the game for tonight. Chargers are thin in their secondary. So give me over on the receiving yards for Zay Flowers tonight. So over on the rushing for J.K. Dobbins, over on the receiving for Zay Flowers. I don't love the over-under because, again, no Roquan Smith could mean one team could score more points than the other. Remember, the Ravens not been a good defense this year. This might be the game where the Chargers finally get to 28, 30 points. And that means the Ravens are going to have to score, at least get close to that. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great night, everybody. I'll catch you tomorrow.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small. Can't wake up without it. Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.